Is there any questions thus far there,
We do
Kirsty?
have a question. I'm going to ask someone to unmute. It just says LO, so I'm not sure who that is.
Hi, Kirsty, it's Louisa.
Oh, hi, Louisa.
Hi, and hi, Chase. It's really
Hello.
good to see you. My question was, do you think that the British curriculum does focus too much when it says that it covers Black history? Do you think that it focuses too much just on Britain's involvement in the slave trade rather than that element of celebrating Black people in history who have made positive contributions?
Yes, indeed, because what it is like I said about basically about slavery remembrance. How many times, how many years do we have to go over the same territory, right? I mean, like the thing about it is a tragedy, and I'm not going to say hey, it happened so bad. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to say is that we could look at things differently. I mean, like I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of Lawrence West Gaff and his slavery tours and everything like that. And I mean, again, more learning for me. It's like finding out about those different things. That's very good and interesting to know. But why can't we start to change? If you're looking to change things, why can't you start by looking at Black excellence? It's not difficult. There are so many people to look upon and celebrate for what they have done, and we haven't heard about it. We've forgotten about it. Maybe you've heard about it as a child, but I have not. So I mean, like, and so there are people who are Black excellence in Britain, but as well as in America. So it's like, oh, choosing to talk about Rosa Parks. I mean, listen, I'm all for what she has done and advocated, but there's so many other people to talk about.
Absolutely.
You
I'm
know,
a history specialist, and from what you've just said, it resonates with me so much in that the curriculum earlier in my career that basically I was asked to teach, I felt was exactly what you've just said. It was about just very, very narrow view of Black history and was not about the celebration of individuals. And I think that is a very, very clear change that we can make.
it's not one moment, is it, Louisa? It's not one moment that you could look at, especially like, I mean, Google is a big Encyclopedia Britannica, right? There's so many different things. Like another thing, if I could just say, right, what I wanted to do, because I used to work with the National Slavery Museum, National Museums of Liverpool, yeah, International Slavery Museum, thank you. Where it's like I wanted to actually talk about slavery origins in a way, right? Because I was like, why are we staying here in the 18th century or the 19th century? Why can't we look at the beginnings? Why can't we look at the 16th century? And it's like, there's so many things. My point is that here's a really bold move. Slavery, right, comes from indentured servitude, does it not? It comes from forced labor. So in that fashion is that we've never seen a film. We've all seen Roots, right? Amistad, all that kind of stuff. But we've never seen a film that actually showed that Dutch, Norwegian, French were working the plantations too. Those are white-skinned people. They were indentured and then they were forced because, hey, man, I'm not letting you free, right? So they were working in the fields too. We've never seen that represented, right? Now you can look it up. I mean, like I think it was his name was John Punch. He was one of those slaves, like that escaped. Like a Kunta Kinte, Toby kind of scenario and everything. But when he escaped from his plantation, he escaped with the Frenchman and with the Dutchman and the Norwegian, right? But you only hear about Punch. They got caught, and then when they got caught and he went to court, he was bought by a Black man, right? Who had a plantation. What? Look it up. It's a fact, right? I just watched The Color Purple last week because I do a quiz, and then I realized, right, man, this is a great movie. But hold on for a second. I didn't know that Danny Glover owned a farm that his father owned, that his father was probably got when he got free from slavery. My point is that I'm ignoring that. I'm just looking at the tragedy, what happened to Celia, Whoopi Goldberg's character. So we don't take notice of these things. They're not pointed out, And this is what I'm just trying to say.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you, Lisa.
Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify some of the in the closed captioning, because this is automatic captioning, and sometimes it's just not getting whatsoever what you're saying. It's not understanding what you're saying. So I'm just trying to.
Are you not understanding my American accent?
It's not me. It's the actual Zoom software.
Oh my God. Man.
It was not quite picking up. So I'm just explaining for the people using captioning that
yeah
about the film Color Purple.
Oh, right. I would love to see Zoom's interpretation of my speech.
You can. It's going to be transcribed.
No. But so basically is that so let's talk about the noticeable difference in people, right? I mean, obviously, where you're talking about how do we approach education, how do we approach our Black students or Asian students and students of color and everything. And what it is that I think now that we've been, 7-8 months into this pandemic period, the joy at the beginning was that people wanted to know, right? Now, you got to understand, Black people, in a sense, they have a right to their angst. Oh, now you want to know, right? But the point is that, like, I'm all about, okay, you want to know, I'm going to talk to you. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped by several different people that want to have a deep conversation. But I want that conversation to matter, right? I mean, I don't want you to feel that I've done my bit, right? I've asked a question, you've answered, thank you very much, because again, it's that feeling of less than that we have to recognize that these things, they can only change if you change. And if you come from down, right, and it's not your fault, right, and it comes from down, and recognize, because a lot of people, and please, this is not about defenses. I'm not racist, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. We're talking about, in a way, it's like colorism or shadism, right? In a way, it's that, like, it's the compartments that we've been put in, and I'm trying to look at one of the reasons that we've been put in those compartments is because we don't know anymore, right? I'm pretty sure some of you have been watching Jane Elliott. She's the psychologist who, did that thing on Black and white kids and they don't see color and all that. These are taught behaviors, how racism is taught behaviors and everything. And, the thing about it is that in the home, you could be taught one thing, and in the class, you could be taught another. And a lot of kids are taught that you have to respect your teachers, and your teachers know what they're doing, and you have to sit there and listen. So if it's coming from the teachers, you have to say, how are you going to apply this anti-racism strategy, right? So this is what I've been told, that what you're looking for, right? And the main thing is, what I'm trying to say is that the difference, the noticeable difference, that's the thing that you have to kind of like change. Because like I remember taking a course and or diversity, there's always these racial diversity courses. And but there was this good thing that they provided in there called the diversity wheel. I don't know if any of you actually had done this. Like, it's like a training course, and they say, okay, well, we're going to do a diversity wheel. And so it was all about, the differences people have and the sameness that they have, So it's kind of like eye color. Yeah, we got the same eye color. My eye color is black, my brown, whatever. Hair, nails, nail polish, shoes, clothes. So it was like, look at that diversity is beyond skin color, because obviously, how are we diverse? Well, I'm black and you're white. We can't be that simple anymore. I was in a taxi once, right? And the taxi driver, asked me, where my family was from, right? And I said, like Native American. Nearly crashed the car, right? You know what I mean? And because obviously I'm black, right? but I am from America and everything. But on my mother's side, my grandmother is Lakota Sioux, and on my father's side, my grandmother is Blackfoot. So do I ignore my Native Americanness just because my skin tone is black? You know what I mean? So the thing about it is that we can't just define ourselves just by the skin tone scenario. When I'm starting to talk to people, and if they say they're African or they're from Africa, I ask the next question: where? Ghana, Sudan, Congo. Oh, what's it like there? They're actually shocked. I'm actually asking a question, right? And in that fashion is that I'm asking you to be curious. I'm asking you to actually engage beyond the skin tone. That the noticeable difference, yeah, we're different in skin color. But then again, is like there's a lot of white people who go off to get a huge suntan and whatever. I can't even name it because I don't go there. You know what I'm talking about? Tobago? No. Benidorm. Let's just say Benidorm. I don't know. You know what I mean? And a lot of white people chasing the sun, right? In that aspect. But the point is that it shouldn't matter. Is what I'm trying to say. Be curious. Where you from? What's it like? Yeah. So the last thing, and hopefully there's another question, is that Black Panther was amazing. I'm pretty sure you all agree. Now, as a African American, right? We grew up on roots and everything like that. So, there was this kind of like, we're not thinking too much about Africa. We're about Black Power, bruv. You know what I mean? Like the Black Panther movement. But when the movie came out, a shocking thing to me was I'm on YouTube all the time because that's what I do. And I'm looking at people in all these different countries in Africa because they're so proud to watch a movie that they get on their phone like we do. And, they're there. So I saw this couple, right, in front of their movie theater, like in Africa, and everything. And they had a big gulp, right, and popcorn. We love Black Panther. And I'm like, oh my God, they got a movie theater? See, Black people can be racist, right? My point was, why did I say that? Because the representation to me as an American growing up was Africa was poor. They needed money, feed the children. They go out and they like shoot little kids with distended bellies, distended bellies. They're starving. They got flies on their faces. That's my view of Africa growing up. So when I saw them in a movie theater, I was like, you know what I mean? What's going on? That's my lack of education. And that's where it began for me with Black Panther. It began, and I started going on the internet. And I'm like, oh my God, look, they got a mall. You know what I mean? There are a lot of African friends that I would have who would tell me how their lifestyles were. And then they're over here. Right? So it's not difficult to have these conversations. Why do we feel that it's not important? Why do we feel culture is not important? Now, I say, why do we feel? Because I'm trying to share that I have my own biases that I'm trying to change. I don't want to just say that's an African guy over there. I want to know he's from the Congo. I want to know he's from Ghana. I want to know he's from Sudan, right? Because it's respectful. If he knows, he keeps asking me, hey, where you from? I'm from America. Where? I'm from New York. I break it down every day in a taxi or with people because they just like they're curious. So why can't you keep that curiosity with everybody else? So is there any questions?
We do. We have a question.
I'm just saying I could talk for English, so stop me, please.
I'm going to ask Alex Martin to unmute to ask a question. Oh, it won't let me. Hang on. Okay, I can't somehow ask Alex to unmute, so I'm going to ask the question for them. Hi, Chase. Where do you think we start with this, in the classroom or in Parliament?
Well, Parliament. Ask me that after November. You know. But in the classroom, where it starts is first, I think it's important for teachers to start educating themselves. I don't think it's very difficult to ask anybody to go on to YouTube or Wikipedia. I've sent, these people that I talked about. There's plenty of people, even Laura, I think, or Lorna can help in that aspect. Educating oneself, I think, is first of all tantamount to teaching, because if you feel that this is just a lesson plan that I have to deliver, then it's not going to come with the same passion, right? I think her name was Lorna. I think you could see it just in what she was saying in her response. Passion is teaching for me, right? And that's captivating for the young people that you will be teaching. So before you actually develop the curriculum, you start to educate oneself. So as a team, especially if this is the anti-race strategy remit that you guys got to put together, just sit around and talk to one another, right? And I don't think, I got to tell you, I would hate this. And I'm not going to speak for you, Michaela Hall, right? But I mean, as I see in the chat there, and just, it's not about pick a black person in the team and start talking to them. That's not educating yourself, not at all, right? Because it's like, oh man, you're overwhelming me with your questions all of a sudden. You know what I mean? But you can educate yourself and talk amongst yourselves of what you learned, right? Take a page out of the group of like the young people that I said I was talking to in the podcast, where they just went and looked at the link. I sent them links, right? So once you're in a group of teachers and you have the education, then you could decide your strategy of how you're going to present it. How does this affect our program, right, of what we're doing or the class that we're teaching? So it just doesn't have to belong to the history class. Like I was talking to Kirsty when we were planning this and stuff, I mean, she's doing photography and music and stuff. Now, I used to come from that world, and I was like, oh, well, this is so important, Kirsty, because, lighting black people is terrible. I mean, when like, it's nothing wrong when white people light, no, it is. No, but they just don't understand skin tones, right? There's the thing about this melanin thing, right? They don't understand. Like, see, I'm lighting myself with 3 different lights right about now, right? And everything, and I think I'm well lit. But in that aspect is that, so in the olden days, in music video days of film, I was saying they had to come out with a particular film stock just to light black people. It was Agfa film stock, because it brings out the amber tones. You know what I mean? But in that fashion is when you're looking at photography, right? We talked about it, right, Kirsty? When you're looking at photography, you have to think about these things. You can't just have your 3 ARRI lights and go, hey, go forth and do, which is what they do sometimes in some courses. So in that fashion, what I'm just trying to say is, don't just think that this belongs in the history class. I don't teach history. I don't need to know it, right? We all need to know it. The learning is for you. So you might go down a rabbit hole. Once you start looking at the different things, I never heard this Princess Calipia, right? You might go down your own particular rabbit hole. And wouldn't that be great? Because then you're excited to tell your students about something. You could put together a project called a Black Excellence Day. Why not? November, we're coming to November, Slavery Remembrance Day again. Why can't you do something different and say, let's do Black Excellence Day? Let's have the students pick out, there was a black doctor who came up with the cure for smallpox, right? It was smallpox, polio. Yeah, smallpox. Polio's guy, well, another guy, right? You know what I mean? You figure it out. There's so many people that has done something, and it's worth talking about. So imagine as a school project, Black Excellence Day. What we're gonna do is everybody, and I mean, I'm talking to like spoken word artists, and they just came out with another soundscape, I think on Monday, right? Black Fest, if you heard of that. So as teachers, you can actually put that into the people's heads. I mean, like your school's got all this technology and everything like that. The motion capture room, which I love, by the way. But I mean, there's so much you could do. You got robots And Will Smith did that I Robot movie. I'm just saying. Right? There's so much you can do, but you have to be excited about it. You know, you can't think, oh, it's about those people again. We ain't got to cover that subject. Yeah. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying. Right? There's somebody in the group that probably said it. But imagine if you guys sat around and talked about that. And ask yourself, when did you ever? What we ever just sit around and just talk about, you know, like black people in a positive light, as opposed to, you know, yeah, they're marching again. Yeah. But it's tragic. And know why they're marching? Because another black person has been killed. And it shouldn't happen. Right? So it's not about delineate anyone's pain. It's about, let's do something about it, like come together and talk more about these things. Let's make it a part of a thing. Anyway, sorry, that was a little soapboxy that, but yeah. Another question?
You'll be happy to know that all of our photography students now know how to light a black person when taking photographs of them, and how to identify the undertone in their skin, whether it be white, whether it be warm or light. So they all know now.
Look what I've done. No, I'm kidding. But you know what? It's like you look at it in film, you look at it on your telly and all of that kind of stuff. When they're putting up lights, you have to recognize, and it's not just about, I mean, EastEnders, oh my God, it's not just about like, hey, well, we got Black History here, and they come in and they disappear into the woodwork in the background or the shadows, they got them and I can't see their face. Yeah. The main thing about it is that it's not like, okay, let's pull out that special light for the black guy, right? Because the lighting that you have to just notify and alter is going to make, you know, the white person look just as good as well. It's just the fact that it's a consideration. You know, they go around with the f-stops, right? Right, Kirsty? They go around with the f-stops and their light meters. Yeah, that's just allowing enough light there and everything like that. And it's not. So that's just only an example, though, about how you could do it. And you was talking about that there was a course on black hair, right, Kirsty?
Yes, we're trying to arrange that right now, a unit on working with Afro hair.
So, I mean, like, the thing about it is you're like, oh, man, why do we have to do that? Well, there's a lot of money in black hair. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're actually saying that we're going to be doing something for our students, you know, and everything, there's a lot of money in that. It's a big thing. You know, women pay a lot of money for their hair, and for their hairstyles. I had a friend, a white friend, who, you know, he said, hey, listen, man, my little sister wants to get her hair micro braided, you know, and everything. Can you help us out? So I had to take her to Harlem on the train. Right. But hey, you know what I mean? You had to go and get that done, and she wanted it done. So whether you're white or black, it don't matter. I mean, you might be kind of crazy with an afro, but, you know, I don't know. I think it's kind of sexy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but the stylings of black hair styling as a part of a course will show that you are actually taking note that it's something that we need to consider. And that's how I said that. That was pretty cool, right? Said that on purpose.
I've got a question here from Alex Woods, but I'm gonna field the question, because the question is, where do you suggest we start researching for resources, or is there a certain online platform? I'm the teaching and learning coach for equality, diversity and inclusivity, and part of my job is to help you if you're unsure, if you're listening to all this thinking, I 100% want to implement all of this in my teaching and I just don't know where to start, then that's what I do. I can help you to do that.
Yeah.
To embed things in your lessons, to think, how do I cover this in my curriculum? How do I address issues around race in my curriculum? That's literally my job, is to look at what you're doing and find out how we can help your students and benefit your scheme of work and your curriculum and your lesson plans. That's what I do. So you can just contact me.
My answer would have been YouTube. Like, the thing about it, that's where I began. Because when I look at things on YouTube, like top 10 Black warriors, right? You know, or if somebody tells me that there was a black samurai, I mean, unfortunately, God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman, we lost him, but he was in the middle of doing the Black Samurai movie. Well, not in the middle, he was planning on doing that, and I hope they still do it. I mean, we got Tom Cruise as the Last Samurai, but that's not true. So so you can just type things in, right? You just type things in and look it up. And like I just said, it has to be you looking for it, So Kirsty's there to help you there. YouTube is there to help you there. But the main thing about it is like when you pick up on something, it's about researching it and just, taking that name and going for it. I mean, I don't like arguing with people on YouTube, right? Because I'm not on YouTube or on Facebook, right? But I put out something the other day, right? Samuel Jackson is doing a documentary for the BBC called Enslaved, and like people got it twisted on what I was saying. So obviously Samuel Jackson getting paid, and he's going around and he's looking at slave ships that didn't make it through the Middle Passage, and in that fashion is that he's got a team of people around him. And, they go to the coast to one of these places because he's looking for his family as well and stuff like that. And the white guy says, I'm sorry, please don't take it as rude. It's just sometimes it's context. Says to him, yeah, this is the first time that they saw the ocean when they saw the long ships come in, right? And I'm like, what? I had to roll it back the first time. I just told you that blacks were a lot of seafarers. They had their own ships. They were just surprised that you came in and tried to take them away, right? But the point is the fact that I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Now that I'm educating myself, I'm hearing things. So hopefully this is causing you to hear things. And let me check that out. That might not be true, and all of that. So, hey, man, I love Sam Jackson, and thank God for the BBC to give us a documentary on slavery. Yeah.
We have one more question, which is, I mean, we've literally got 2 minutes, and I feel like this is not a 2-minute question. But the question is, could you give us your take, Chase, on cultural appropriation?
Cultural appropriation. You have to explain that a little bit more.
Well, I get this a lot. So cultural appropriation is really when white people take an element of culture which is not theirs and try to pass it off as theirs.
Oh no, come on, man. See.
So like seeing seeing maybe like a white girl at a festival with dreadlocks and
yeah, we call those wiggers. I can say that.
And a sari. But I think often people are worried that if I start teaching content about Black culture, then it's going to look like I'm appropriating it. But I think cultural sharing is different than cultural appropriation.
That's a good one. I mean, like the thing about it is people are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, I've encountered many of those type of people, on the streets of Liverpool or anywhere else. I mean, it is somewhat sticking into a Black person's gut in a way. Like, if you see somebody, like, if all of a sudden, like, a white person starts wearing, like, one of those Africa round those leather circles or something like that, hey, but, like, nothing belongs to us, really, right? I mean, you could say, well, kente cloth and kufi hats and all of that. It is kind of crazy. They make fun of those in, like, some of those African-American movies. Why would you do it? Maybe that's the whole point behind it is that you might say, hey, I'm learning about this culture, and I actually love that. I'm going to wear one of them kufi hats, or I'm going to start wearing kente cloth. And then it's like, because unfortunately, that is the first thought that somebody will think that you're doing that kind of cultural appropriation. But it wouldn't be from you teaching it, though, Kirsty, or anyone else. I think that, like, we all, like, especially in England, there's a lot of stuff that you take from America, right? I mean, there's so many people wearing, like, different name brands and stuff that they come from America. And does it make it a Black thing? Like, if you're wearing a FUBU jacket, You know what I mean? You just had the money to go to America, go out to New Jersey. That's where it's like cheaper because there's no tax in Jersey. But like, and bought a FUBU jacket, right? Or a Nike or Carl Kanai. You know, is that cultural, Mr. Perosi? Whatever the word is. Is that, no, it's not. It's like, hey, yo, I watched the movie. I've seen that. I want to wear that. But I think cancel cloth is a little bit much. And I think I saw it in the chat. It's kind of like, you know, the colors of the African flag, where, you know, some people have them as sashes, as scarves, or, you know, things and everything. They're wearing it because they're proud of their nation, their commonwealth, their culture. That's why they do it. Why are you doing it? I would just say about that, you know. But FUBU's all right.
Jace,
wear that all you want.
We're just up to the time now, 10:32. So I want to make sure you get a decent break before the next one. We've got loads of stuff in the chat where people are offering resources and things that they've seen. So I'm going to collect all that together and put up a follow-up email to this, so that everyone can see all the different resources that people have been adding, and lots of people are saying thanks in the chat. So thanks everyone so much for participating.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, no, thank you all as well and everything. You know, Califia, she's on a bottle of milk in America.
I'll get the pictures up for the 11:30. I'll make sure we've got the pictures of Empress Califia. So. And I'll add them to a resource, so that everyone will be able to see all the resources that people have suggested. I'll put them all up on SharePoint so that you can use them and look at them and use them for your own lessons.
She's Wonder Woman, people. She's Wonder Woman. All right. Okay. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.